Well, welcome and hello, everybody. Dan John here from danjohnuniversity.com, and welcome to the 129th edition of our podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Our listenership has grown a lot recently, and I really appreciate it. And we also noticed that because the number of questions are really have gone up a lot recently. Remember, if you have questions, podcast at danjohnuniversity.com, and I'll do my best to answer each and every one. The site is booming, danjohnuniversity.com. The forum just seems to grow every day, and we have a whole bunch of new stuff coming out, including some stuff for training the military. Now, we have this week we have a couple questions from members of the military, but it's a rare week where I don't get at least a few questions about training for the military now, or for police and SWAT and things like that. If you know my work, I consider that quadrant 2, which is lots and lots of qualities at a fairly high level. And I'll do my best to explain that as we go through this week. All right, so let's get started on the questions. We have a question from Scott. And Scott says, while visiting my son several months ago, I noticed in his basement he had a 24 kilogram kettlebell and a 48 kilogram, also known as the Beast. I asked him what the heck he uses that for. I got to tell you, Scott, if you're worried, if you find things in your son's basement and they're heavy kettlebells, you're doing okay as a dad. You're doing okay. I can only imagine what many dads find in their sons' basements. He is 35 years old, 6'2", and about 175 pounds. His fitness level is good, and he participated in high-intensity workout programs in the past, but now is caring for 2 young children, has reduced his ability to consistently work out. Frankly, I'm concerned that he may overdo it and try something that will cause long-term injury. He has kyphosis, back condition from childhood, and I can't imagine even doing swings with the 48 bell without a risk. Are there some other basic kettlebell exercises that you would recommend someone of his side can do with the Beast? Well, in my gym, we use it to press and to goblet squat. But if you can't press it or goblet squat it, then it's just a good, a doorstop? Is that the old joke from my youth? Yeah. I don't know if I agree with you entirely, Scott. If someone has good technique, very often heavier kettlebells, because of all the stiffening you have to do as you swing the bell, and the need for excellent technique actually seems to have, from what I've been told, helped some people with back issues. Having said that, for most people, day in, day out, men, the 24 is all you'll ever need. The upside of the 48 is it is kind of nice to have it if you decide to do something along the lines of deficit deadlifting. So he would have to stand up on a couple books or blocks or plates or whatever and deadlift. That actually is a pretty good little exercise. And of course, the goblet squat with the 48 is actually quite a good. You need to do the two-handed clean to get it in place, but that's not bad at all. There's value for it. I don't think it's the cost to benefit. Literally, in this example, the cost to benefit might not be perfect, but if he's using the 24, I think he should be fine. For programs over at Dan John University, I would suggest he gets in the workout generator and as best he can dial it back. I would suggest, and this is what I did with little ones. I did a lot of things, but when I was able to stick to 2 to 3 whole body workouts a week, that was the best. When it was really the crazy times. We have a newborn upstairs, and very often during my podcasts and things, you can hear him pounding the floor. So I get the stress that you might get from having children, but for your own sanity, I think you should work out 2 to 3 times a week, whole body. So push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry, and do what you can. Okay, thank you. I hope that helped. I don't know. We have a question from John. In the past year, I've gained about 30 pounds with half of that muscle at the age of 47. putting on 15 pounds of muscle in a year would be pretty impressive, John. I don't want to be a jerk, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did put on 30 pounds, 15, 15 of lean body mass, muscle. That would be pretty good. The thing is, I'm not even trying. Basically, I've been doing a very minimalist program for the past year. Is there a way to shrink but to keep the gains? I feel real strong and like the bigger arms, back, and hamstrings I gained. I figure I can lean out through diet. Well, well, yeah. I mean, you definitely lean out through diet. Diet's the key, but it has to be a diet. It has to be a nutritional intervention that you can do. It has to be a repeatable and doable over probably, I would say, 1, 2, 3, even up to 10 years. To me, that's the most important thing. That's why I try to always have focus at every meal on having a serving of protein and a serving of vegetables and water at every single meal. And just because I feel that eating vegetables and protein at every meal for me is repeatable, doable over time. So, yeah, I think you could probably do that through diet. A little background on the situation: worked out all of 2020 since there wasn't much else to do, around 6 days a week, minimalist. Okay. March 2021, 273 pounds, 6 feet, real strong. But while deadlifting 545, it's funny, I used to weigh 273 at 6 foot, and I could lift a lot of weights. While deadlifting 545, I used a bent bar and twisted on myself way up. Sprained hip or something, 3 months hobbling around, figured it out in June. Weighed 263, leaned out, basically doing nothing for 3 months, started slow again. Every workout hurt. Then Octoberish, things started feeling right again. I'm guessing, John, you're at 290. John, at your age of 47, weighing 290 is an issue. I don't mind this idea of you training minimalist. I think that's actually a good idea. But after every workout, you need to go for at least a walk. I think you need to also, I mean, I do the heavy hands. I use those little 3 pound weights, and I walk like this. And it's not very impressive. And actually, I thought for a long time it would make it, it would, you wouldn't be, the opposite sex wouldn't be interested. But interesting, lots of women comment on the heavy hands. They ask me questions about it. So, if you're looking to meet people, walk around with pink dumbbells at 290. I definitely think you're going to have to do the minimalist workout and walk every day. I suggest heavy hands if you can do it. 290, you're still in a nice. You're at a place that we can probably have some intervention that won't hurt you. And then we just got to get that weight down. I'm hoping you have a medical doctor supporting you on this. I'd love to find out what your dental hygiene is like. I'd like to know what the eye doctor thinks, because at 290, you need to see a doctor. You need to see an eye doctor. You need to see a dentist. You need to take care of those basics to keep your health in line. Okay. I hope that helps. Let's get back to me on what you decide to do and follow up anything I asked about. Okay, thanks. We have a question from Joe. Joe says, my spouse is about 2 weeks out from a surgery to remove a fractured bone from her foot. Will be the first time she had a major surgery, and we're both a little nervous about the recovery time. She's an avid runner for stress relief and weight loss. Okay, and she's been struggling with both those aspects since her injury last May. Okay, so this is a while now. I try to help, but I haven't been terribly successful. Yeah, let me explain why. It's the first two words of what you wrote here, my spouse. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Do you have any insight on what I could do to help her recovery process and alternative exercise suggestions until she can run again? Well, I mean, if she can walk, then I would do, just as I just told the other person, I would do heavy hands. The nice thing about doing heavy hands, light weights in the hands with big arm work, is that there's very little load on the foot as you go. Obviously, and I don't know where you stand on bicycling and swimming, but those are really good options. When I hurt my back when I got back from the Middle East, boy, that was a tough about 1 year for my overall health. Uh, I hurt my back, and so my doctor recommended swimming and bicycling. So I figured since I was swimming and bicycling, I might as well try a triathlon. I did the what do they used to call that, the float coast shuffle style, you know. But I found that to be extremely good. Um, you don't even have to get very fancy. You could certainly do like an exercise cycle instead of a bicycle. You could do lap swims. It doesn't have to be very fancy, but mixing and matching the basics of cardiovascular work probably is a better idea. The sad thing is the word cross has been destroyed by a certain community online. But cross training is still a great thing for non elite athletes to do. Cross training has great value in, I don't want to say injury prevention because injuries happen, but lowering the chances of getting repetitive injuries seems to help. Okay. Um, Try those, Joe, and just remember, as a spouse, it's a tough giving advice to a wife or husband about fat loss and exercise is a tough go. I've never heard good advice on that. If I did, I would have repeated it to you. Try that. Try cross training. Try some walking with weights in the hands, if possible, even rucks if the load. Remember, because you're not pounding on when you're rucking, you're not pounding on the ground. There is more load, but you're not getting. I always joke about Coach Isaac Newton. We're not getting Coach Isaac Newton's 3 laws when you do it as much. Okay, Joe, let me know how it goes, and good luck on this. Okay, thank you. Got a question from Lane. Hey, Lane. I'm a police officer in the southern United States. Be- Became a police officer after being a college and high school strength and conditioning coach for 5 years. Well, good. Then you should be well informed here. I have done well to maintain a good level of strength, conditioning, and overall fitness despite having a wild schedule working on nights. I have recently moved to days and am interested in how you would schedule your week and lists if you had a similar schedule. I'm 5'8", 210, about 16% body fat. You're 16% body fat at 5'8", 210. That's pretty good. And my main goal is to be well-rounded and ready for anything. That's always a tough question to answer. I am also on the SWAT team at my department and compete in BJJ twice a year. Again, I'll make my usual joke. Here is how our work schedule is set. Keep in mind we work 12-hour shifts from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and I have a family. My work days I can manage 30 minutes, and off days I can do more, and typically throw in BJJ 2 to 3 times a week, depending on my wife's schedule. Well, with those 12-hour shifts, that's just tough to work around. I like the idea that you're doing 30 minutes on your work days. I'm gonna sell my own product, but I'm telling you, at Dan John University we have the workout generator. You can plug it to 30-minute workouts, and you'll do whole body workouts. I would suggest, when I work with special forces, special operations, SWAT teams, one of the things I really strive to do is give them permission to do, like if you're going to do a push, pull, hinge, squat workout, you do 2 sets of 5 on the push, the pull, and the squat. And then you do deadlifts, you do 3 sets of 3, or 75 to 250 swings. And then for loaded carries, you do bear hug carries or whatever. And then you walk out the door and you go home. Your rest periods are mobility work. So you do a set of 5, you do some mobility work, you do a set of 5, you do some mobility work, you change exercises. That's what the workout generator is designed. It's designed for you. And now, obviously, I have some other ideas for SWAT teams. If you read my work, I talk a lot about something called lift and sprints. I'm a big fan of those for SWAT team members. But with the BJJ, you're getting a lot of that. You're getting a lot of that workout stuff. Use the time in the weight room, those 15 to 30 minute blocks you have, to get a whole general body workout. And I want you to start thinking this way. This can be hard for you, looking at your background lane, but I want you to start thinking, I want to feel better when I walk out of the gym than when I went in. I don't know what your age is. I'm guessing you're probably in the 30s just by the numbers you have. You could be older, but I don't know. Um, yeah, what you're doing now with your strength and conditioning program is to maintain. If at 5'8", 210, 16% body fat, and you're fighting and you're doing the job, you're there. Now your job is to stay there for as long as you can, which is a hard lesson, but that's the key to understanding any kind of special operations. Okay, I hope that helps, and thank you. Enrique, do you think a Girovec, well, it's a strongman in Russian, would benefit from heavy double front squats, weighted pull-ups, and presses as complementary strength movements, just as barbell Olympic lifter might? Or should volume be the focus? Now, the problem is, Enrique, I don't know what you're asking here. If you're a Girovec sport guy, a GS guy, and your sport is the kettlebell snatch and kettlebell the double overhead jerk, or the long cycle is double clean jerk, and of course there's 1,000 variations on all that now. I would say sure. I mean, obviously, I'm going to tell you, any athlete gets stronger by squatting, pull-ups, and presses. I mean, that's just given. But if there's something I'm missing, I need a follow-up here. I know it's a little vague, but that would help. I'm a big believer that you should get as strong as you possibly can. And then, your question about focus on volume, yeah, get as strong as you can, and then do more and more and more and more reps. And that's not the best answer I've ever given, but that might be able to help. Thank you. We have a question from Joe. I'm looking to set some strength and fitness goals to work towards for my 65th birthday. So we're the same age, Joe. My idea is run sub 8-minute mile. That's nothing wrong with that. Overhead push press body weight. Okay, that's not too bad. 10 pull-ups, again, not bad. 100 push-ups. That seems out of line with some of the other ones, but it's a good round number, so I understand that. Trap bar deadlift in excess of 300. Bike 65 miles. Buy a really good bike and it'll be a lot easier. I do not back squat, but perhaps a goblet squat standard would be nice. Yeah, I have that 6-minute drill where you, every 30 seconds, so you sit at the bottom, and at every 30 seconds you stand up and then sit right back down. So when you start, you do one goblet squat. Then you sit down, you sit at the bottom of the squat for 30 seconds, and then when the 30-second beat goes off, you stand up, back down. When you hit the 1 minute, stand up, back down. 30 seconds, stand up, back down. You probably get away with just doing 3 minutes, but 6 minutes is standard. I will occasionally time myself in the mile. Presently, I run about 9:20 for the 4 to 5 miles. I am confident 9:20 run. Now, Joe, if you're running at 9:20 pace in the mile, I mean, you are probably shuffling, and that's fine. I would like to have known a history if you have hip or knee or ankle injuries. But at 9:20, it's, you're right on the border of it. You probably get as much out of just walking fast. I'm not being a jerk. I'm just telling you straight up. I am confident in achieving the bike and run, but worry about injuries and trying to up my lifts. I can push press 125 now and trap bar deadlift about 225. I follow an easy strength protocol and really never attempt lifts that I might fail. Injury means no work, not an option. Any suggestions on realistic goals? I looked at some standards, but trust your opinion the most. Perhaps best 3 to 5 rep versus a max. I'm presently doing the workout generator in the AM and lifting 3 days a week in the afternoon. That's a lot of volume. One lift heavy each session while practicing the other movements. Am I chasing too many rabbits? Yeah, my answer would be absolutely you're chasing too many rabbits. But having said that, you're trying to do a series of goals for a 65th birthday. I agree with you. There's two I don't necessarily think are going to give you a ton of value to chase. The overhead push press for body weight one, you don't give us a body weight, and the 100 push up one. And the only reason I pick on those two is that doing 100 push ups does, I mean, the more and more I coach, the more and more I don't like high rep push ups because of that grinding. I call it like it's a saw, the sawing damage that it seems to do to this little spot right there. I mean, it's right there for a lot of people. And then for others, it's like right inside the armpit. It's right there. So the pain is I'm touching muscle here and I'm trying to touch joint there. I don't know if it's worth it. Now, if your goal was to do 100 push-ups, then you do it, but then you're done when you do the goal. For the overhead push press, so you got a good running goal. You got a good biking goal. If you do the pull-ups and the trap bar deadlift and the goblet squat test, that's a nice little series of tests. You might be able to knock it out in one, maybe 2 sessions at the most. If you just have to do some kind of overhead press thing, then I would say the overhead push press and abandon the push-ups. I'm not saying the push-ups are bad. I'm not saying the overhead push jerk is bad. I'm just saying for what you're trying to do, I just see that as issues. I could be completely wrong, but when you said chasing too many rabbits, I think you are. I think you'll get the goblet squat one just by wanting to do it. I think the trap bar deadlift, you might just need a couple of practices with heavier days. The bike and the run, those will just be, you just got to do them. And then the pull up and the overhead push jerk, push press one, those will take some practice. And that's where your real focus is going to have to be. I would set up a pull up bar somewhere in the house and do as many rounds of 2-3 pull ups a day as you can. You know, just 1, 2, 3. Step away, come back in an hour. 1, 2, step away, come back in an hour. 1, 2, 3, or 4, or whatever, and just grease that groove on the pull-up. Yeah, Joe, I like the idea. My goal at this age is to break the American records in the snatch, clean, and jerk and total. So it's interesting because I think we're both chasing really, really solid goals. And good luck to you. I hope I see you on the other side. Thank you. We have I think it's Chem. So I have a question from Chem. What would your suggestions be when combining the easy strength workout routine and training for the 10K? Now, I'm guessing it's the 10K run, though it could also be the 10K swing challenge. But let's just go with the run, just for my own sense and sensibilities here. I'm a strong believer in not overtraining, keeping it simple. That is why I love easy strength so much. However, me being a Marine, I want to be a fit runner. My definition of a fit runner is being able to run a 10K under 45 minutes. That's not ridiculous at all. I would simply say this. I would run, if I were you, after every easy strength workout. I would random out as much as you can. Come up with a rule. You know, like we had that great rule for sprinters it was called the Rule of 1200. They could run 100 meters. They could run a 600, a 400, math here, and a 200 hard. But that's all. 3 hard 400 meters. I would suggest one day a week you go far. Sadly, of course, we always argue when you're trying to have a distance is you should have one session a week that's triple the distance. Now, a 30K you're going to be so maybe we could just do something as one day a week, a 15 or 20, if you can fit the time in. I would say one day a week you'd run a 10K. And don't try to time yourself. Vary the route every single time. And then maybe a long one. Ideally a 30K, a 20K, a 15K, whatever. Ideally a 10K after you lift. And then a 5K. So that's 3 days a week. And on the other days, I would suggest probably maybe as a Marine, you know how to ruck. Maybe maybe a half an hour ruck, 1 or 2 days a week on top of it. Nothing crazy. And I wouldn't mind if you had a day where you just practice hill sprints just to get some speed going. Okay. Um, I hope that helps. It's a very simple formula here for you. Okay. And it is no problem at all. We have a final question, and I'm not sure I really want to answer it, but I will because that's what I do. This is from Jack. I've been listening to your podcast and reading your articles for a little while now, and I'm wondering on your opinion on CrossFit is. I just can't stand the injuries that you see from CrossFit. I also don't like the kind of community that seems to have evolved from CrossFit. Um, they obviously do some good things. They obviously do some bad things. Um, it seems pretty obvious to a lot of people that there's some issues. I don't want to talk about it really. I don't. I was involved with CrossFit when it first truly began. This idea that it started in 1974 is just rubbish. Um, but and I have, in fact, the reason I know that is I have emails from one of the co-founders that tells me that clearly. And there's just issues with it. I worry about the direction they took politically a long time ago. I worry about some of the misinformation that has come out of the site on different things through the years. I don't like the way they've treated certain people. So other than that, I mean, it's up to you. Frankly, remember, I don't care what you do, and I never have. But just keep that stuff away from my athletes. That's all I ask, okay? Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 129 of the DanJohnUniversity.com podcast. Remember, if you have questions, email them to me at podcast@danjohnuniversity.com. I am always happy to answer each and every question, to the point of sometimes being more confused than I was when I started, but I'm here to help, okay? And remember, until next time, let's all keep on lifting and learning, okay?